injectors are set up, ready to go. So once I click on run, they should all run, right? Right? Well,
What's going on, everyone? So, quick little intro. This project was brought to me. Originally, another mechanic installed a Holley sniper unit in 2017. We are now going into 2024, so we're near the end of 2023. So roughly this car sat about 7 years not being able to be driven just because it wasn't running correctly. Some of my clips are a little bit out of order. I wanted to get a lot more content, but with how busy I am, this is what I got, and I wanted to share. With that being said, I believe the Holley sniper unit is a very decent kit, but I believe it is marketed wrong. This is my personal opinion too. Holley markets this, I feel, where an average mechanic in the garage can install this over a weekend. You start it right up, it's going to self-learn itself, and that's all you have to do. You can drive off into the sunset and be happy. That's not always the case. When you're taking, usually guys are switching a carburetor out for the Holley sniper unit, and you have to upgrade other stuff, and you're just assuming that everything else is correct that was done. Well, if something is wrong in between, and the sniper unit is trying to self-learn as Holley markets it, it's never going to be learning correctly. So that's where the issues kind of lie, and this is my personal opinion. You know, you'll have guys, and the thing was, during this portion of the videos I was taking, we actually got a phone call where a guy had some concerns. He wanted to switch over to a sniper unit. He said his buddy did, and then we started talking. Now, one of the concerns was cold start and or restart after it's been driven for a short period of time. He explained how his buddy will go to the grocery store, pick something up really quickly, run back out, and the car won't want to start. So, of course, you don't want to be stranded. Well, the biggest thing is, yes, it's marketed as a self-learning kit, but it should ultimately fall in the hands of a dyno tuner like myself. There's a lot more involved in it. Yes, it will, and it might start up, and it might even run, or feel good. But without the proper tune, with somebody that knows what they're doing, you're relying a lot on the computer system to do what it needs to do, and that's not always the case. So, with that being said, if a proper tuner is behind it and he can figure out what's going on with it, if you have an underlying issue, it's going to make the system run that much better, and you're going to be able to get more power out of it if you have someone specifically dialing in your setup on a dyno. So with that being said, I think I kind of summed it up. I can talk for hours about the whole Holley sniper system. I do got some more videos in the works coming, so keep an eye out for those. Hopefully you enjoy this little clip. And I will say, the customer was super happy at the end of the day, was very excited to get the car back, and what made it all worthwhile, and always makes it worthwhile, was when I gave him the keys, he sat in and he started it up, and that smile on his face. So I wanted just to include that. So here she is, all strapped up on the dyno. It's dyno time. So let me go back and talk about exactly what we did here. And let me see if I could go turn these lights on. Give me 1 second. There we go, we got some light. So originally when this car came in, we had of course, the not running right condition, and we had a warning on the work order, the repair order, that said the car was dumping a good amount of gas, so be careful with it. So of course, when we go to start it, we're being extra careful. We're making sure that, the gas is not an issue. And the car was ultimately backfiring. So we were concerned, I was majorly concerned about this stuff, because I'm sure it's flammable. After we saw exactly what it was doing, we went to figuring out more so, are we fighting a sniper issue, or is something going on with the engine itself? The engine itself was worked on prior before coming here. It's got some stuff installed internally. So the big thing was trying to figure out which one we're dealing with. There was some things with the sniper unit that we noticed and we mentioned to the customer. One of the things is the wire underneath on the, so you can see the wires right there. On the other side, let me cross over the dyno path here and not fall. Okay, so on the other side, the wires over here, which you can see them right here, they're running upwards. They're kind of pinched underneath here. I don't think it's the problem, but you know, it's stuff that we noted during the whole diagnostic procedure. One of the other things we did was a compression test. We wanted to verify that, you know, the engine wasn't hurt, or the thing's been sitting since 2017, so we don't know how often it was started, if it just sat or whatever. And that's what I also talk about in the one portion of the video. Let me cross over again because I don't like how the light is shining on the phone. So you're going to hear me talk in a portion of the video saying, you know, we don't know when it was originally installed in 2017 and then the car never ran again and it sat in a barn. It hinders the diagnosis procedure because the car's been sitting so long. You know, a bunch of stuff can come into play. So anyways, our big goal was to figure out sniper unit or the engine. If something was wrong with the sniper unit, usually what happens is it will get sent back into Holley, and it will take them months to get back. Their service is, if you've dealt with Holley, well then you already know, but if you haven't, you know, try calling them on the phone. You got to leave a message, and then you hope to get a call back 2 or 3 days later, and then you hope too when they call you back, they already don't give you something that you already tried or tested. So it's an ongoing process. So after we ruled everything out on the engine, and during this whole time as well, I myself am trying to dial in the tune. Prior to coming here, Holley, the sniper unit, has this whole startup guide. You can call it a wizard or whatever. You enter what you're running, and it's supposed to try to get it fairly close to how it should be running. Well, on top of that, we're running into an issue, so it's not going to run how it wants to, and then the car's trying to self-learn itself. So that's why I had to create a whole new tune, and we had to start with something that I knew was good, and I was comfortable with saying, hey, it's not the tune portion aspect. You know, with the whole self-learning stuff, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who entered what and whatnot. So we ruled that portion out, and at that point, after I did that, the car ran a lot better, but it still wasn't out running correctly. So we're getting closer and closer to figuring out what the problem is. You know, one of the things too during this whole time is we found that the distributor, the timing was off a little bit. Not much, but if you have a problem on top of that, it's just going to possibly heighten it. So we fixed that. We took out the spark plugs. Some plugs were fouled, some were not fouled. And at that point, came to the decision that I believe it was a sniper unit, and I'm going to feed the next video in right after this. So I wanted to catch you guys up to date. When I was diagnosing this stuff, not only was I super busy and prepping for holiday stuff and prepping for winter. So as you can see, we'll get a little bit more in detail. We have the sides off of the sniper. And when you take the sides off, you expose the 2 injectors that are not in there right now because they're in the machine to be tested. But if I walk over here as well, got the same stuff on this side. So Holley does have a known issue, and it's not more so with the injectors, I will say. It is with the clips. I have seen where whoever's like assembling from the factory, they don't push these on far enough, but they push them on just enough. So if you're, I don't want to use the word lucky, because it's almost unlucky, that if they're on good enough but not enough, it will run fine. And then a couple weeks later or a couple days later, as soon as you hit a bump, you develop a misfire. So I don't want to say you're more unlucky or lucky. Preferably, if you start it up and you have an issue from the get-go, well, then you kind of can troubleshoot it a little bit easier. You know it's the new system that was put on the car. If you're driving this thing for a month and then you have a misfire, then you're kind of like, uh-oh, is it the system itself? Are we fighting another issue? So that's why I don't want to say, use that word lucky. The injectors are in the machine. They're being tested. I'm going to walk over there. I'm going to show you on that stuff and what's going on. And we're going to go from there. So the other thing I will talk about as well is the sniper unit itself. This is the whole sniper unit that looks like a carburetor. Believe it or not, and they are, they're sold as kind of like maintenance free. You should still do some maintenance to them because ultimately you do have 4 injectors inside of there. So if you have an older car, or I should just say any car in general that's running a sniper and it does not, let's say, see winter, and you're going to put the car away for the winter time, 2 or 3 months, you should still treat it like any other normal car because it has the injectors in it. So a lot of the times when guys put a car away for the winter time, they either read something online and they go with it, or they a buddy told me to do this or that. I actually saw, since we're right around that time of going into winter, I actually saw a guy not too long ago. He posted in one of the Facebook groups I'm in, and I really don't chime in too much on Facebook groups because it's like no matter what, you're always going to find someone that's going to argue with you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's what I'm trying to say. I was trying to be PG about it and not say something else. But the guy simply asked, he said, well, I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I've been told. And one of the things somebody told him was he should drain the tank, the gas tank, all of the gas out of it, and try to get as much gas out of the system so it has no gas in it. And that's the opposite thing that you want to do. You actually want to fill your tank up because you want the whole system filled with fuel. If you have an empty system, you're opening yourself up more for something to rust or corrode. And then the other thing too, the big thing is you want to try to cycle the vehicle. I tell people at least twice a week. If you go in there on a Monday, you start it up, you let it idle, give it a couple, blips of the throttle, shut it off, and then you go out there on, let's say, Thursday, and you can stagger the days, of course. They don't have to be exactly every Monday and every Thursday. But you at least want to get fuel running through the injectors, and that's where, this one's been sitting since 2017. Well, originally that might not have been the problem. The problem might not have been the injectors. He might have had another issue, which, as I'm talking in this video, how the sniper is sold as a learning system, and Holley developed this system to, is my personal opinion, it's geared towards the V8 guys that are on a carburetor. They're super stubborn. They never ever want to replace the carburetor, but now's the time. They had to. They couldn't find a tuner for whatever reason. So Holley has geared this and sold this as like a self-learning kit. You can put it in your garage. You press some buttons on the screen and you're good to go. That's not always the case, and a lot depends on the setup. This one is running a more aggressive cam. And for this try to figure out and learn itself, the system is not quick enough. So you got a cam that's idling, lobing at idle. It's a bigger cam. So when the cam is trying to make a change, you got to picture the fuel tables. If I was crafty with editing, I have a fuel table here. And you have to imagine that when the cam is idling, it's bouncing around a little bit. So when it's trying to make a change over here, it's already too late and it's over here. So a lot of these systems, I'll say this, as far as the sniper goes, they're all not the same. It depends on your setup. Find a shop that you can work with. Even if you want to try to tune it yourself, let's just say, but you want to buy the product from them. And keeping in mind, as I'm going to keep saying this, time is money. So don't call a shop up and say, hey, I'm just looking for this. Can you be on the phone for 5 minutes? 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then ultimately, a lot of guys will just jump on Amazon or eBay and buy the cheapest sniper. And you're not supporting that shop that just helped you over the phone. And I can't stress that enough. But if you can find a shop, give them some business and talk to them and say, hey, what do you think? And also, I'll say this, do your homework though. Because so many shops will fake it. They'll fake like they know what they're talking about just to get you in, make a quick sale, and then when it comes down to it, you're screwed. And I'm not saying this is what happened with this guy at all. Not one bit. I will say though, I believe the guy that installed it, it was a little bit over his head, so it caused the diagnostic procedure to kind of run to a dead end. And as I said, 2017, this thing hasn't ran correctly. So you can see right now we're at our injector testing machine and our cleaning station, and we have it on uniformity sprayability test. And you can see all the injectors are set up, ready to go. So once I click on run, they should all run, right? Right? Well, that's not the case. So you can see 2 are only firing, the other 2 are not. So the suspicion that I had has been confirmed. So now what we'll do is we're going to take these 2 other injectors that are not firing, and we're going to try to clean them and bring them back to life. And if not, well, we should be able to order the injectors from Holley directly and save a lot of downtime just waiting on Holley to send something back to us. So this is something that we offer. If you wanted to take your sniper unit off your car, let's just say, bring in the sniper unit, we can disassemble it and do all that stuff, as I'm going to show you in the videos. I don't know where I'm cutting these videos just yet, so it might be after, might already been before the video, I'm not sure. So we got the new injectors in. This is the first fire. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah. Night and day difference. Beautiful. So I'm sitting inside, and one of the things I always get asked, or more so I hear, is, well, the sniper unit can't do this or can't do that. And I always explain to guys, oh, it can. One of the things is the restart of how, and it might be hard to hear, let me just shut my mouth. Here the fuel pump is priming. Just watch how quickly it catches. You can hear the high idle. It's going to slowly kick itself down, and it's going to bring itself to a normal idle. And now the outro of this video where I can talk maybe a little bit more. The people that have gotten to this end and are still watching, thank you. Please like and share. It always helps the channel. I wanted to talk a lot more about the Holley system, but I didn't want this video to go 30 minutes long, 45 minutes long. I wanted to show some people what we offer. A lot of people think that if you're having an issue with like the sniper unit that we experience, that it has to go back to Holley. That's not the case. And I even forgot to mention that a lot of guys, you know, how Holley markets this to like a garage mechanic, and I say the old school guys because old school guys have carburetors. You know, some guys don't even realize that these are fuel injected. You know, we've talked to people before and they got the response where, you know, I don't, where the injectors at? Well, they're all, you can see now in this video. That's kind of why that's kind of really why I wanted to do this video, to show you guys the inner workings and how the injectors sit in there and whatnot. You know, like I said, though, with that being said, I can go on for hours and hours, and I do got some other videos that are going to be coming up to help you guys that are on the Holley or thinking about going with the Holley. I will say this, we are located in Illinois. Our information should be down below, and if it's not, you can Google us, RC Auto Works. I do help people remotely, so if you're not close to us and you want us to try to diagnose something, you want me to get on the phone with you, I do offer that for a little bit of a price. I can also tune your vehicle without being there, so I offer that, and of course, if you're local, I offer all that plus the dyno tuning. Feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. We're here to help. Hope you have a good rest of your day.